Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. If you're hearing my voice, if you're thinking to yourself, who's that?
Him again?
You're back. We are back. Nadia, what's up?
What's cracking?
We are so excited for this week. We've been looking forward to it for literally months.
Yeah, we have, because I have a really busy friend that I have to schedule months out to even see her. I gotta like beg her to come do a podcast so I can spend some time with her.
I love it. Ladies and
Social
gentlemen,
butterfly.
it is my honor to introduce to you Kaelyn Hutchins.
Yeah.
She is here. She is ready to give all the dirt.
All of it.
All the dirt is ours.
Yes.
Spilling some tea.
Kaelyn works for Principal Entertainment LA, which is a management company here, a really great management company here. And
So
she
good.
is a coordinator / junior manager who is making big waves.
Yes.
I mean, we're just
Doing big things for her clients.
big things for her clients, as well as just making a name for herself. We're so happy to have you on the show.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
This is really like my first ever interview, so exclusive.
I love
Yes,
you
we were the
guys.
first
So
ones, y'all.
exclusive.
Breaking exclusive stories, y'all.
Exactly.
Hey, that's why people come to know business like show
Right?
business. The exclusives.
Exactly.
We're so exclusive. So what I'm so pumped about is hearing your story. I know that, with the entertainment business, it's you kind of put your head down and you just go to work. And it's not often that you get a chance to kind of take a second and look back at all the work that has happened as well as where you're headed.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Nadia and I, we know you personally, but we're so excited to learn a little more about your journey.
Yes, and to have
Yeah.
our fans hear more about your work and how you got to where you're at and all
That's
that good
right.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So why TV and film? Why?
I mean, I used to be an actor, so we'll start there.
Yeah.
I acted since elementary school, middle school, high school, did it all the way, went to college for it. So I think it's just in my blood. And I think I've always just really enjoyed the storytelling, the characters. I mean, you always have those movies that change your life or that are so cemented in who you are.
What movie was that for you? Or movies or shows or?
And there's no right answer.
I think as I got older and just being a fun girl, I think Mean Girls is definitely
Yes.
something that will forever be in my soul.
Yes, that's a great movie. It still holds up.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I saw it on Broadway too, and it was just thank you for doing this exactly how the movie is, because this is why I'm here.
Oh, that's
I didn't come to see some alt version of this.
Exactly. It's you can do new songs, you can songs whatever, but story and even very specific lines. You can't have Mean Girls without you go Glen Coco. You can't have
Exactly.
it. So it's are so
Or
appreciated.
don't try to make fetch happen.
Exactly.
Or something. Oddly enough, we were getting Nadia a doctor's appointment, and I saw a preview that was an interview with Tina Fey about Mean Girls yesterday.
Oh, that's weird.
It was meant to be.
Meant to be.
It was meant
Wow.
to be. So you like Mean Girls? That
Mean
inspires, and so you started in high school. Where'd you go to school?
We went to Escondido High School in San Diego. Esco, you know.
Yeah.
Are you a
she's
Charger
SoCal
fan?
girl.
I used to be.
Yeah.
I'm loyal to the soil, as I like to say, and my father likes to say. So when they moved back to San Diego, which will probably happen, I will be a Charger fan again. But now I just enjoy football. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah.
I love that. I forgot they moved here. That's how that shows you how connected.
Exactly. So I hope
sports I am
hope
right
you're
now.
hearing.
Oh, news to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
So I went to school, Escondido High School. I, acted all 4 years. I was in drama. I was the drama kid, but we weren't the weird drama kids. We were kind of
The cool ones.
the cool drama kids.
Yeah.
We were changing things.
You were like High School Musical before it was a movie.
Exactly.
Yes, everyone was cool and accepted.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was just kind of doing that, and then I wanted to continue that passion into college. I would have liked to gone to New York, Tish, but my mom was like, "You can't move outside of the
Oh,
state."
really?
So,
Yeah.
which I think her hindsight is 2020. I would have never survived in New York. I'm just not. It's just not how I'm built.
You're like, I need the 76
Yeah,
sunshine.
I need sunshine. I need to not be that far from my family and my then boyfriend.
Who's now her hubby. Yep.
I did not realize how much the freaking weather affects my mood.
For real.
I'm learning.
We were just talking about this too.
It's crazy. It's like when it's overcast now, I'm sad. And I'm like writing poems to myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm so sad that I'm like,
Woe is
can
me.
we hear one of those?
no, that's for private time.
got it.
That's for
that's
another
a private
exclusive.
journal.
Oh, perfect.
Nobody has access to that one.
How about if you're a Patreon supporter, I'll give you access to my
page.
my journal.
One page.
No, but yeah, I learned that recently. It really makes a difference when that sun comes out. I like everything changes for me.
I can't even have the blinds up the whole day at the house. I'm like, can somebody open the blinds in this bat cave? But it's so hot that we always have them closed.
Yeah, we keep it open, then we're gonna burn.
Yeah.
You know, like it's catch-22 all around.
All the way around. And it's like hard to get out of bed when it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's no sunshine.
Now, have you ever been to New York? I know that
I
you
have multiple times.
What do you think?
Well, you've been there for work too.
I've been there for work and for fun. I like it. I think it's just a lifestyle you have to be ready for.
Yeah.
I like my solitude of being in a car and not being around people 24/7. So like you have to just kind of be ready for that and just the serious hustle that's there. So.
Yeah.
That's on a
Like that's not
hustle
a
on a
joke.
different level. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
The
go,
all
go,
night.
go. Mm-hmm. The
Yeah,
all night.
Our only connection to New York right now is the Real Housewives in New York.
Oh,
Yeah.
favorites.
Oh, dang.
I haven't been watching this season because they feel a little annoying this season.
They
but-
kind of are. Actually, I like fall asleep sometimes to it, but whatever. So you went to college.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
So I ended up going to Cal State Fullerton.
Okay. Oh, great.
In their BFA program. So I, moved just slightly an hour and a half north
Nice.
to the OC. So I was there. So I was in their BFA program, and then got to the year 2 of like, all right, we're gonna hold auditions and see if you can really go do this. And I unfortunately did not get past that. So that was kind of a great again, another hindsight moment of, the universe and the Lord just saying like, no, this is not for you right now. We're gonna take
take a different path, or like maybe go a different direction.
Exactly. So I think, everything's meant to be, and I'm a big believer in that. Everything's, meant to happen. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to waste the 2 years that I, spent already in my theater degree, and I still love theater. I still love the program. So I kept it, but then I also did public relations.
Awesome.
So I double majored.
Good
So that
for
took
you.
another year. So I did college in about 5 years.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And was it through that process that you realized, well, maybe I don't want to do acting, but I want to do something in the industry? And then
Exactly. So like I think making that change, and also just being in PR, and specifically for me, I did entertainment PR. So just understanding the business of entertainment and what a studio does, what a production company does, what an agency does. I had still this slight understanding of what a manager did.
Yeah.
I knew it was also part of, an actor's team or a creator's team. So I was just like, what does that happen? So I also minored in psychology because I felt like that was just like all the way around good to know.
Yeah, and you can understand your actor clients.
Right?
right.
On a deeper psychological level.
And be like, oh, this one needs some work.
Exactly. You need therapy.
Hey, you got to do some inner child work.
You take off the name
Exactly.
tag that says manager, and you put on the name tag, it says
It's
therapist.
like constantly every day, and I am so appreciative for it. But sometimes it's above my pay grade sometimes. So that's where I leave it to the professionals.
Yeah,
There you go.
right.
I love therapy. We talk about it all the time.
I'm so an advocate for it. I think it's so healthy, and I think it's something we all need if we don't have that people or that system in our life that we have to
That outlet.
go find it. And I think that's really important as human beings to just talk about what's going on and feel safe about it.
So true.
That's awesome. So, did you feel like going out the gate, you knew you wanted to go into management? Did you think you wanted to do PR? Did you think you wanted to be an agent?
So I kind of there's like some form of reference of like an agent of being like a shark and like being really intense. And I was like, I am like that, but I don't want to be like that like 24/7. That was just my broad stroke of knowledge of it. So my last summer going into senior year, I interned at a management company.
Okay.
Small boutique management company, Jordan Lee Talent.
Hey-o.
Okay.
So I interned for them all summer. I drove from the OC to LA.
How did you get hooked up with that?
Just like submitting like entertainmentcareers.com, like just kind of like those
Wow.
random,
Yeah.
interns, like the UTA job list. list. I mean, had I known about that now, or like then, I would have used that.
What is it called?
The UTA job list.
Okay.
It's kind of like just like a circular list that goes around of jobs, internships, and all kind of entertainment categories.
For those listening, I know
Yeah.
we gear this podcast a lot of times. I feel like we talk to like the creatives, the writers, the directors, the actors, and which is great. And obviously, I think we will cover things like that actors would want to know about management from manager's perspective. How do you get a manager? How do you do this? But it's also cool to kind of think like, hey, if you want to be a manager, if you want to get like work in the in the entertainment industry, whether it's being an agent or that's cool to think that there's ways to do that. To like, there's so many jobs of the show business that to be a part of. It
literally takes a village.
Yeah,
Totally.
In all capacities.
That's awesome.
So I interned for them, and honestly, I fell in love with it. Like the second I started doing non-intern work, like doing organization and looking at contracts and like just hearing their phone conversations with clients and with other people in the business, I was like, this is like the best of both worlds. You get to be an agent at times, you get to have that hustle and that fight and that pitching and that, that excitement. But then you also get to have that personal relationship with them and be like, what's going on? Like, why did that audition not go well? And hearing them, take them down and really kind of talk it out and like, okay, what can we do for next time?
Yeah.
What can we help you with that? And then also just like knowing a bunch of people in the industry, you have to know publicists, you have to know headshot photographers, like you have to kind of be that vehicle for your client as well. So like just knowing that, and I love just to know a bunch of different people and just like, I love that
networking.
I love that part of it. So it was like, this is what I want to do.
And
so
I think it's a perfect time to kind of, if you're listening and you're not sure, yourself, the differences between manager and agent, I think this would be a great time. What would be a simple way to kind of draw a line in the sand between responsibilities?
I think for an agent, it is more about employment. It is more about finding the job, having that more connection with casting directors and, really having that shorthand with them and understanding what jobs are out there, what's coming up the pipeline. I think that's really, and negotiating contracts and just negotiating, period. Yeah. I think for a manager, it's a small bite of that if it's just you. But I think it's more about, all right, where do we want to go? What's our 6-year plan? What's our 1-year plan? What's our 6 months plan?
Awesome.
Like kind of really changing the course of someone's career. I think you have to really be ready for that journey. You've got to have all of those tools in your toolboxes to kind of like whip out at any time that a client needs something, or at least guiding them in the direction of where to go.
Do you feel
that's
like
awesome.
There are some, because that's awesome to hear, because I think that's kind of what I know I've always thought of, like the difference. And what I have found so interesting is that it's such a, even like a spectrum of management and managers, because I feel like, you do get managers that act more like agents and kind of don't take the time to do what you're saying. For sure. And then it's this weird thing of like, as an actor, you're like, okay, well, shouldn't you be like helping develop and guide? And I mean, obviously actors some people have more to develop and guide, or some just have more to like fix and manage what they already have.
Right.
So what kind of advice would you give to like a new actor or an actor that doesn't have like, if they're searching for a manager, do you think it would be best for them to just forego a manager that early on and just go with an agent? Or if you're going to go with a manager, be patient, and if that's how they're functioning, that like that might be for a season and then you kind of move on to, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're at in your career. If you are developmental and you don't have a lot going on, I'm a little biased. I think a manager is more important than an agent, because we also do what an agent does, in some capacity, not to the full capacity, but we do. We submit on breakdowns, we negotiate if you are licensed and things like that. So I think that's kind of a multi-tool to grab first.
Yeah.
It's the
MacGyver tool.
Exactly. And like, then they'll have the relationships hopefully to, put you with an agent, or at least guide you in the way to go get an agent of, doing showcases or whatever. But I think they're more of a person to get when you first start out, because I think it's somebody who can really give you the tools, and also depends on the management company. If it is a smaller company, they may be more worried about their bottom line. So it may be more about that they do feel like an agency, and then you're not getting that like one-on-one time. So, I mean, it just depends. It depends on what you're looking for. And these are also questions to ask too, if you ever are taking meetings of, you know, like what is your process of submitting? Do you guys submit? Like, is that, you know, is that something you guys do on a regular basis?
Right.
Like, that's an okay question to ask. I don't think that's scary. At least that wouldn't be scary for me to answer, because we are the tricks of all the trades. You know, we can kind of do everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you go to this internship, you fall in love.
And
you're like, here we go. This is it.
This is it.
Found it. What's next?
So then I went back to school and, you know, finished up my fall semester. And then Jordan Lee called me over my winter break. And they were like, hey, so we love you, and our assistant is leaving, and we would love to hire you when you graduate. We'll have a temp your spring semester, and we just love you so much and think you really have, you know, the gumption to kind of do this, and we really want to have you, you know, with us and with our team. So I was like, as a college student looking, you know, to graduate in the spring and already have a job, like already kind of lined up, I was like,
that's awesome.
Absolutely. I was like, I will figure out all the logistics later, but yes.
right.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. And it was a company of just 2 managers and clients that I already was starting to love. And, you know, they just had such a great foundation too of managers too. I just loved their different styles, and so it was great. So I was so blessed to, you know, come graduate college and then move up to big bad Los Angeles.
That's awesome. And how many years was that? How many years ago was that you moved out here?
7 years ago.
Okay.
Doesn't it move
That's
quick?
amazing.
That moves very fast.
I feel like every day here feels the exact same, and then you look up and you're like, where'd the year go?
Like, seriously, I realized that next week is the last full week of July, and I'm panicking.
That's so crazy.
Isn't that nuts? I know.
We're almost in the 20s.
Like,
No,
I love this year.
I know.
So
I love it. So you go into full-time employment.
You
graduate. You move. What was all that like?
Was
for
your mom
family?
like, no?
My mom was like, okay, like this is far, like this is it, right? Like, you know, it's like, yes, this is as far as I probably will go. So
you're like, it's Hollywood and it's right there. There's
exactly. So my then boyfriend and my other friend moved in together. We all 3 moved up. She was already planning to move to LA, and he was going to Dominguez Hills at that time. So it was kind of perfect for him of, you know, not commuting from Orange County anymore. So the 3 of us just moved up here and found a place in Westchester by the airport.
Yeah.
You know, we were like, this seems okay and safe, and, you know, kind of on the west. I mean, we didn't really understand what the west side meant, but like, you know, a little, it had the vibes of San Diego, you know, like it had the like kind of suburbia-esque, and it was easy just to get around, and rent was affordable. So
back in the day.
Back in the day.
I remember complaining in like 2013 about the rent, and I'm like, oh man,
I would love to have that.
Yeah, I had this 2-bedroom off like Laurel Canyon and like Moore Park for like $14.50 for like this huge 2-bedroom, like 2-bath. And that's like what we pay for like our 1-bedroom.
A girl can dream.
I know. It's like, what? We should just stay there. Anyway.
I have all these like mental thoughts of like, what would it take to get rent down? I have no idea.
That's a loaded question.
I know, it's definitely not my pay grade.
Yeah.
So we'll move back on to entertainment. So you move here, and one thing that fascinates me is every role in this entertainment. We already talked about how it takes the village, right? You know, to be a director, to be a producer, to be involved at all, even to be an ad agency, to be involved in commercials. All of it seems to have a very long road.
Yeah.
And often that road has no real direct path. It's often like, well, this worked for this person, but it definitely didn't work for that person. So what was it like navigating as a manager? And is there a clear road, or is it kind of the same? It just depends.
Are there common themes that you see with the people that you either work with at Jordan Lee or where you're at now, that there's like common
paths,
themes? Or is it just like you have to take every person individually for I would imagine there is some level of that, right?
I think it's that. I think it's taking every person, like everybody has their different styles and their different tracks of how they got there. You know, like some of my bosses have come from agencies and then didn't want to be an agent anymore and wanted to more on the management side. Some people came from really big management companies and wanted a smaller company, but just as mighty. Other people have been homegrown, have been at the company forever.
Awesome.
And then some people have just been in the business of management for a long time.
Got it.
And just moved, you know, to business that they felt they could grow the most. So I think it's kind of like any kind of corporate job, I guess, you know, any kind of like office job. It is kind of a projection of wherever your needs you feel like. If you like a more of a corporate environment, then go. There definitely are corporate management companies. If you want smaller people, or if you want more boutiques, you know, feel, then there are different things of that. I think it's more on a personal basis.
And what about for your clients? Like how you choose to like manage them, like or like with the different. Did you feel like when you were at Jordan Lee, like there was like a different
priority or something,
like way that you would manage each person's career, or did you, or even where you're at now, it's like, do you feel like, because there's no like one path to like making it, do you see that there's a common theme with all of your like clients, or even the clients that you worked with at Jordan Lee, or do you just kind of also be like, it's kind of case by case? Like,
I feel like you definitely start finding your style. I think I was so fortunate to work with all managers who worked with like human beings. Like nobody had an ego or were like this crazy just demonstrative person. You know, like everybody, I was so blessed to have clients that were just great people. Like they were never, you know, took people for granted or, you know, was very disrespectful. Like I was so fortunate to work with all clients and even with all managers that were just human beings first.
Good people.
Yeah. And just that of good people. So like, that's kind of what I have come out with is I want to have clients that are good people.
Yeah.
You know that, and you can tell in 2 seconds. Like you can just tell if you're going to be a problem or if you're like, you know, have that perspective, you know, of where you're at. And, you know, this is what I love doing. And I want to do this for the rest of my life, no matter what.
Right.
It's like,
that's awesome.
Those are the people that I want to work with.
I love that. And so you were at Jordan Lee, and then when did you make the move to principal?
So I was at Jordan Lee for about 2.5 years. I cut my teeth on everything, and you know my mentors are still to this day really, really close people in my life, and I treasure everything that they taught me. And I just felt like it honestly was on a whim. I wasn't even really ready, like, all right, I'm gonna go out there and see what's next. And honestly was like, let's see, you know, like
right. Isn't that how it always works?
You know, like I was, and then when it actually started happening and I had to give my 2 weeks, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Because it wasn't even like you were, I think it's always it's hardest when you're not even leaving for like a shitty reason.
Exactly.
It's like you're leaving just because this is like the next logical either opportunity. It's going to help you stretch and grow. Yeah. It's just like, bring flowers and just say so.
I remember like texting one of my bosses. I was like, hey, can you come in a little early? And I was like petrified, you know, like I'm just out of college. This is my first like Hollywood job. And now I have to like have this really hard conversation.
Oh man.
So it's like, and he was like, sure. And he already knew like what was already happening. So, you know, I told him and I instantly started bawling, and it was just, you know, it's hard. It's hard to step away from people who gave you your first opportunity.
Yeah, man, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine because, I mean, I've left agents or I've left managers, and you know, sometimes it's easier to leave than other times. I think it's always the hardest when you are so grateful. Yeah. And it's not,
It's awesome. So you take a step into principal, and what's your journey there been?
So my journey there is I've been there for 6 years, and it's been awesome.
Already,
I know, right? Yeah, that's been great. So I went and was a shared assistant between two very busy managers that their business was just growing and growing and growing and just having clients just leveling up and leveling up. So it was, I mean, to this day, I don't know how I did it, but I think coming from being the only assistant to, and then coming to that environment, it was like literally the same speed. So it was great.
That's great.
I learned so much from those two. Again, very different management styles, but great to see both of them just be so successful, and at every level too. Like they had developmental clients, middle ground people, people who need to make that flip into, breaking out and doing all that, then having breakout stars and like knowing what that's going to be. And it was so fun to see both of their journeys, and now they have their own assistants and they're still killing it.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's awesome.
So that leads me to think, so you're part of a management company, but each manager is kind of runs it like its own business. Is that what I understand?
Kind of, yeah. Like we all have like our own lists. I mean, we do share some clients between different managers, and I think whoever manager you have like that shared style with, I think is what you're going to gravitate towards more.
Interesting.
But yeah, we kind of all really work on our own list, but we also share information like as a company. We have our staff meetings and things like that. So we all like make sure we share information. So
about like clients and stuff. So like everybody kind of knows what's going on with everybody.
And like, I'm hearing this project's getting active, or this role's off the table because it's an offer or things like that. So it just helps us all be collaborative, and that's also the difference between I think an agency and a management company. Agencies do share information, but I just feel, again, I have a biased opinion. I just feel like management's a little bit more like we're like a family, we're here for the same goal. Like if your client wins, our company wins, so it has more of that like homegrown feel.
It's almost like what's good for you is good for all of us.
Exactly.
Versus like what's good for you is good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite part of all of it?
I think the clients. And seeing them hit a moment of success that they either A, weren't ready for, and seeing that process, or B, them having the success on things that they've worked really hard for. I think that moment you have to cherish and really think back on those moments and be really grateful for those moments when things really aren't going your way, or are thinking that it's going your way, or for you or your clients. Like it's really important for you to keep those moments. But like that's what I do it for. I do it for those moments.
That's awesome, because it's easy to forget like that accomplishment, the whether it's big or even small, like when it's like when there's been a dry spell, or when there's been a couple of bad auditions, or you've had a bad month, or you've had a bad year. You know what I mean? It's like, man, is it ever going to pick up again?
Yeah.
And I think it's just that constant like trusting that it's just a season, and what can I be doing in the process?
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a mental game, all of it. Like on every side of this entertainment world, it's like it's such a inner struggle for every position, where it's like you have to kind of be the champion for yourself. Yep. And in your case, also for your clients. And so it's like, to me, it seems like that would be a heavy burden, because Nada and I are actors. So we get the personal struggle of like, whatever.
What are we going to do now?
What are we going to do? But I can't imagine having like a lot of people looking at you going, what do we do? Do you feel the weight of people's expectation, or do you kind of embrace that as like, I love that part of it?
Kind of both. I more embrace it. I feel like I use that to challenge myself, and I like that hustle part of it. I like, all right, if it's not going, like, what can we change? Like, what are we doing? Like, let's find a way. Let's get creative. Let's break down some doors about it. But I'm sure it's a lot of pressure. I mean, I'm essentially semi-responsible for a lot of people's careers. And like, when you say it like that, like that's heavy. Like that's heavy.
Yeah.
So I think it's just having great clients and having great communication. I also pride myself on being very straight up and very forward and very honest. So, if clients do feel like they're having, a season of a dry spell or things like that, and they're like, what's going on? And it's like, I'll tell you, it's summer. Nothing's really going on. Like, there's not a lot of projects in production.
Go to the beach.
Exactly. Just kidding. No, actually, I do encourage that. I do really encourage actors to get out of LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you're surrounded by it 24/7. And how hard is that to be constantly reminded of what's not happening for you? So it's like, get out. I'm such a big advocate for mental health for myself and for my clients of go do what's good for you. I don't care if you book out. I'm not a manager that's like, never book out. It's like, if that's going to help you get centered and be ready for what's to come, go do it.
I love that.
That's so important for you as a person.
that's one of the things that I've always like loved about you is that even like from the first time we ever met, it's just like things will be when they're meant to be and like being organic. And I think, I think a lot of times people want to like cram things in or make things happen. And I get it. Like
or rush things.
There's a level of taking initiative. And I think that like, there's this.
There's
like,
also a level of desperation. Like,
yeah, for
like
sure.
Just being real, like living out here in LA, it's expensive.
Yeah.
And it feels like life's passing you by. And so you can often find yourself being desperate for things, which makes you push things faster than they should go.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you might not be ready for something or it's just
Yeah.
the season of life that you're in or whatever else. But it's like, there's a fine line, I believe, that there's just a fine line of like being productive, being proactive, but then also being like patient and also trusting.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a perfect balance of that, and it's hard to find that. But I think when you have people who are truly in your corner, we're here to help for that. We're here for the explanation. We're here for what can I be doing? What class should I be taking? I think we're here for that, and that's also just what I love. I love being that support for people. Like a lot of my clients call me Mama Bear, and it's like,
yeah.
That's what
awesome.
I do. I feel like I'm a part of their life, and
you protect, and
nurture, and what benefits them benefits me, and like I always want to support them and put them in the best foot forward. However that may be.
And that's how I feel like it should be. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like so many times, just even friends that I've talked to, there's sometimes the relationship with, and I guess maybe it can kind of be like this with an agent, even though I don't think it should be like this with an agent either, but definitely not with a manager. I feel like I've had too many friends, and even for myself with different managers I've had in the past, where it's like, you're afraid to talk to them. It's like, I don't feel like they're like, that's like, why should you be afraid to be like, hey, this, that, or the other?
Yeah.
Like,
I've heard of a lot of these stories, or like, managers not calling back for like months on end, or
not returning an email ever.
Like it kind of boggles my mind, because I cannot envision myself doing that unless there was like a major life crisis.
Right.
Right. I mean, obviously, let's like, given the like annoying person that's emailing you 30 times a day, like that goes without saying, like, don't do that. But but like just within reason, like I just think that that's where it's like we were talking about it, I think last week or maybe the episode that we did alone. I can't remember which one, but talking about how so many times we don't feel like, it's almost like we feel like we're working for the agent or the manager versus like, hey, we're even working together. Yeah. And even like, I get it. It's like technically, the way I see it is like technically, yes, an agent or a manager gets commission off of what you make. So you're technically paying them. But I see it also as like the manager, especially a manager who's very involved, is paying you with their time. They're investing in you. So it's like they're investing. It's an investment. Yeah. So it's not like just like, hey, you work for me, do whatever.
It's the circle of life. It's a perfect, cohesive, interdependent relationship.
Absolutely.
That should be filled with, I can call and we can talk about anything, or like the comfort level should be there.
Absolutely.
So in the process, I just had this like weird connection to like, I don't follow a lot of sports, but it's almost like a coach of your own team, right?
Literally.
You're literally going and you're seeing a high schooler like hit, great batting average or whatever. And you're like, come on.
Exactly.
And you go to this other place and you're like, come on. And you kind of build your own team of sorts that they operate independently, but together it's your kind of baby.
Like your fantasy league or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It is literally like fantasy league.
Fantasy football.
Fantasy league of actors.
So how do you build that roster? How do you do you look at it as more like a team thing? Like you look at, okay, I got this position filled and that position filled, or do you look at it as like more individualistic, or a combination?
I think a combination. I think someone like me, I'm just starting out, so I want to make sure I have all of my boxes checked. Like I'm also a big component of being a manager of diversity, so I want to have more diverse clients than anything. If I can ever be that vehicle for somebody, like I'm so down for that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's figuring out what your type is, or what you gravitate towards, and then building your business. Obviously there are categories, that people fall in,
Totally.
Yeah. So it's like you want to make sure that you are being a good business person and making sure you have all of those categories at some point. You can have multiples of that category. I'm a big believer of not having just one person for the one category. I think people are at different levels as well. They can be in the same category, but they're different levels. Totally. And that's totally okay.
And even like, I would imagine even being in the same category, you're still different people.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And you bring different things to the table. You know, someone can be more strong in comedy. Someone can be more strong in drama. Someone may have more credits. And, you know, it's a different fight for that. You know, it's a different situation.
I love it. So you kind of a combination of both. And then is like, I don't know if this is old school thinking, but is it like all like I go to a play and I see people from there? Or like what's the process of like finding new talent?
So our company has it also depends on your company too. Our company has like a referral only process. So but like, you know, we get the blind submissions or the blind emails or the blind mailers. Like we per policy can't really touch those. They have to kind of come from referrals or your own scouting. So I like to go to showcases, you know, the actor showcases for agents or managers or workshops. I also do like to audit classes because I'm an actor at heart. So I like to, you know, see acting classes and the kind of different exercises and different types of acting class. You know, there's like the scene study class and there's just like an on-camera class.
Who have you audited lately that you really enjoyed?
I really actually like Brian Reese's class.
I went to Brian Reese. He's still doing that's
I feel like we just heard about him.
No, I don't think we have. Brian Reese is old school. He's been around for a hot minute. I took him like years ago when I first started.
And it's so good for people who just want to get polished, who want to get, what is my real life going to feel like in an audition? You know, like what is a cold read going to feel like? I went to a class and they did an exercise of the actors only knowing their lines and not knowing the other people's lines until they performed it.
Oh, interesting.
Like together?
Together. So like they would, you know, go and study their own lines, but they didn't know the situation. They didn't have any context. It was just kind of like, all right, let's see what happens. You really had to listen. You had to be good at memorizing and things like that. And it was like, damn, that's hard.
Yeah. You know what was cool? Hard. I took this class a long time ago where they would give you a scene. Mm-hmm. So you had your lines and your scene partner had their lines. But I actually don't remember. I would imagine we both had to work together, but there was zero context. So you had to, what I loved about that exercise was you had to, whatever your action was, had to be justified by the lines. Mm-hmm. So like if the lines were like, hey, give me that, I can't reach it. Like I remember from our scene, I think I was blind. So it was like a very specific thing that I had to do to show that I couldn't see with the words, which I thought was just so cool because a lot of times it's like we're so worried about the lines, but it's like the lines can mean anything depending on what you're doing. And obviously if you have a script that's telling you just got hit by a car, you just got hit by a car. Mm-hmm. Right. You know, I'm sorry, like you're not flying a magic carpet somewhere, like figure it out. So, but yeah, I thought that anyways, it's so cool to hear that. Is he still on Fountain?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
So like that, and I go to see plays too as well. But you know, if they're in a play, they're usually repped, or you know, like they somehow got there, like with representation. So and our company, and especially me, like I don't poach. Like if they have a manager, it's not that hands off. Yeah. Yeah. You know, if you don't know, then you don't know. Like if they're not if it's not displayed anywhere online, then you know, IMBD or like whatever, then. You know, that's kind
free
of like
game.
Yo, bad.
That's a mistake.
Get your shit together.
You know, that's something that I'm just morally against is poaching. I just don't. I would never want someone to do that to me, and I would never do that to someone else.
It kind of seems like professional dating. Like
exactly.
Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like it has nothing to do with like romance, but it's like
it is.
There has to be this like spark. Yeah. There has to be this interest. Mm-hmm. And then there has to be like good conversation. Like you would want to hang out with someone.
Totally.
Especially I imagine if you're, you know, the main difference of, you know, the manager is you're involved a lot more. Mm-hmm. Like imagine if you got paired up with like a terrible person. And then you're like going out and they're like being rude to the waiter and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to date you no more.
I'm like, those people exist and they have managers.
Yes.
So it's just don't be that
that's
person.
for them. Like, you know, and that to each his own. You know, I think everybody, it's your level of what you
can handle or want to deal with.
Exactly. Like and I just want to deal with good people. So
you're like, if you shady, don't even bother.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm not for you.
And for anyone listening who might not know what a referral is, you're talking about industry referrals.
Yes.
Someone who works in the entertainment industry who has some level of clout of their own.
Yep.
Who says, hey, this talent is really good. You should check them out.
Exactly.
Is there anything outside of that I missed for someone who's listening?
I think that is what a legit referral would be, you know.
And other actors, if you're listening, we've already thought of it. You can't just like refer a friend.
I mean, if my clients refer people, I take that as a referral, but you know, that happens very few and far between because they, you know, they
care about their...
They don't want to share me, you know.
But it's also like, you can't be referring every single friend of yours.
Exactly.
Like, like I'm sometimes even like, I have so many friends that are like, hey, can you refer me to your commercial agent? I'm like, actually, I've referred like probably a very few select people. And even then my agents were like, hey, like we're trying to get our clients work right now. Right. The ones that we currently have, like we're just not in a place to take on new people. And sometimes they are. Yeah. And you know, it's just, and it really depends. It's like, you never know how you're going to get with somebody.
Exactly.
It's like Preston and I had, and I know I've told you this story, but like we had 2 separate commercial agents, and he had an audition that he could bring his like real life couple to. So then I went, and then we got a call back.
Fortunate for me, I had a real life couple.
And then through that, it just ended up working out. Like it was time for change, and we ended up, you know, it was just, he ended up with my agency. You never know how you're going to end up somewhere.
Exactly.
Work begets work, or work begets opportunity, or whatever else.
And that's all about timing. You know, that was something you guys couldn't see happening, or you know, like that wasn't a situation you're like, we're gonna try to do this. You know, it's just about timing and having that happen organically.
Because I never was like, oh, let me send you to, like, even when we got married, I wasn't like, I'm going to submit or talk to my agents because we're married now. It wasn't even, because that's not my style either.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know what I mean? I want to respect like the relationship I have with them, and that's professional. And then.
Yeah, and it worked out great. I think that is a exciting thing when it happens, and such a frustrating thing about the business is because the beautiful thing about everything happening organically is it feels like magic. Yeah. You know, the awful thing about it is what makes up the catch-22. Yeah. Like it is you can't get work unless you've had work, and you can't have work unless you get work. And it's that just constant circle. But in situations like that where everything seems to line up and you're ready to take that step, I think that in terms of an actor is our job, is to be ready to take the next step. But in terms of a manager, what does that look like? What is the stars align in the manager world next step? Is that creating your own management company? Is that leveling up over here, or what's that kind of progression?
Yeah, I think it's having opportunities to get higher talent. Yeah, you know, I think it's, you have a body of work that you can really reflect and be like, these are the clients of what I've done. So like, I would love to have the opportunity to work with you. I think it is, you know, starting your own management company at some point. If you feel like you are ready for that, that scares me a lot. But
I was about to say, that's even just talking about it.
It's a lot.
I'm not even a manager. I'm going, oh my God.
I'm already stressed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I get some water?
Yeah.
I'm like, just owning your own.
And also like producing, you know, that, you know, managers can produce. So awesome. I think it's also exploring that space. I think that's a little foreign to me still. I mean, I'm dabbling, but you know, in very small projects for clients, but that also is very exciting because then it kind of turns that creative part in your brain on, and it brings the actor in me of like, I was gonna say, of creating something and creating a space and creating a project and, you know, things like that. And then the manager side of me is like, oh, well, that's going to take a minute. Development's very slow. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, switching those hats on and off. It's
exciting though.
Challenging. Yeah.
Especially the way the industry is going with like, just like kind of like be the creator of your own content.
Exactly.
To the point, you know what I mean?
And it's fun to work on things that clients are really passionate about as well. You know, I have a client who has this documentary that is so cool. Like the idea is so cool, and I love just like different things of the world, and he's kind of creating something in that nature, and it's like, this is so exciting.
That's awesome.
Or like, you know, Terrence was on with you guys too,
Yeah.
or like developing his books into something, you know, like whatever that would be, you know, creating that passion and those stories for him.
Maybe a cartoon.
Maybe a cartoon.
Maybe a
Maybe
Disney
an
thing.
animation.
Disney,
Something.
Nickelodeon. Knock on our door.
You know, I'm here for it. So,
Yeah.
so it's exciting. It's exciting to be a part of that journey, and like being a manager, I think that's the benefit of being a manager too, is you can go produce. So I think
That's
fun.
awesome.
What does a day look like? Like you wake up, you get to work. What does it look like? It still seems like so foreign to me. I know that you submit and you make phone calls to who? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like what is that like the daily process look like?
Yeah, so it depends. Like on Friday, I was expecting like a chill day, you know, just like I've got a couple meetings, but you know, I got in, did breakdowns, and we do them every morning and afternoon. So submit and go through what I need to be focused on and what project wise of what's moving, you know, I can tell by episodics what's moving fast. So these are the things, you know, you have to get organized and find a priority system for yourself of like, all right, I need to go pitch this first because this is going to be moving. So it's figuring that out, going through your emails, you know, returning phone calls you haven't returned yet. And then, you know, like on Friday, it was like just meeting after meeting. And then that meeting turned into another conversation. And then that conversation spilled over to lunch. And then you have a minute to like do another round of breakdowns and figure out your pitching and what you've got to set up for. And then you have another call that's an hour and a half long of strategizing and figuring out press. And then you have an offer situation that you've got to, you know, handle and see if dates work out. So you've got to be calling agents and casting and doing the rigmarole of that. So
I love it.
You know, all great things to have. I love busy days. I'd rather have busy days than slow days. So I'm so grateful to have them. And so like, that's just kind of everything changes day by day. It
The
really
word
just
that
depends.
pops up is logistics.
Yes.
It seems like you have to be a master at planning, prioritizing.
Yeah. I like to call managers air traffic control.
Yeah, that's the.
I
I thought
love
that. I
that.
was like,
Yeah.
air traffic control. You're literally making sure planes don't crash into each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
I think Siri heard us.
Oh, she's making a special guest appearance.
Is that Siri?
No, I think that's Alexa actually,
Yeah.
which is even creepier because I turned her off. Are you listening, Alexa?
Don't ask her questions. Creeper.
Yes, but air traffic control is usually the analogy I like to use because it's, you know, you've got to juggle all the balls and
Make sure no planes crash.
exactly, and knowing what needs to get handled first and be respectful of people's time, of
Yeah.
getting back to them, and, you know, dealing with, you know, problems that just pop up. You know, if someone calls and they were like, I so bombed that, and that bombed that audition, and then it's like that, and seeing what we can do, and, you know, things like that.
That brings up a great question. Actually, just for clarity, if you're listening to this and you want to be in the entertainment industry and you're like, what's breakdowns? Breakdowns is something that comes out every day, and it's a list of all of the projects and roles that are being cast.
Mm-hmm.
And it includes what that role is, what the project is, and all that. And that's what she was referring to. But the question that I had is, so I had an experience where I had a really bad audition. And I had the thought, I was like, man, should I call and like, hey, that was a bad experience. Yeah, should it be like that? And I didn't, because to me it was like, at the time I was like, actually, I think it's more struggle than it's worth. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you encourage, or is it case by case as well?
I encourage all my clients to call me or text me or email me how their auditions go. I just like to hear how it went for them, and, you know, if they got everything accomplished that they felt like they needed to do. For me, that's the win of the day.
Awesome.
So checking in on that, checking in just how they feel overall, you know, how they did. And I have had those experiences of, you know, clients being like, you know what, I don't know what happened. I blanked and they were not happy about it. Or, you know, of some sort of variation of like, I didn't feel good, or like they were like, okay, thank you, you know, and
You can go now, bye.
yeah, exactly. So,
or they turned the TV on during it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That happened to me once.
Really?
Yeah, we were talking about it.
I'll tell you the name later, but it was so awkward because I had been in once for her, And at the time, I had a manager.
Her
who was
or
like,
him.
Well, there's a lot of hers and him.
In case her is listening.
Like, they don't know.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where, like, I had been in a couple weeks prior and, like, whatever. She was like, stop me. And she's like, how old are you? Like, in the middle of my scene. And I got caught so off guard. And I was like, I don't even think I answered. Like, I think I gave some, like, weird answer because I just felt like it was weird. Like, at the time. This was a long time ago. And then I was brought in like a month later, and at this time I was like, I gotta make sure I'm really, really prepared because I feel like this crazy bitch is like constantly doing crazy stuff. So I was super prepared. She was off book. I think we talked about this in another episode. She was completely off book, so she didn't have to look at her sides to read with me to be the reader.
Oh boy!
And then she literally turned on the news in the middle of my scene. And like literally wasn't even looking at me. She was like watching TV, and I'm like trying to make eye contact.
You're like, you want me to stop?
I didn't. I'm like, are we watching? What's happening?
Did something
Is there
major happen?
Is there a cop car chase? What's happening? And all in all, I finished, and I think she was actually pretty impressed. It seemed like at the end that I didn't break because I think
maybe that was a test.
I think it was.
Could be.
I think it was totally a test. But I think it's crazy that they do that.
Yeah, I mean, again, to each his own. Like,
Yeah.
Whatever your process, your process.
But I was like, she was like, that was very good. I'm like, yeah.
I was ready.
I was ready. I wasn't gonna let you throw me off my A game.
Right.
But it's just crazy because you just never freaking know. I have a friend who was like, I just ran into her at a commercial audition, and she was telling me that when she had just come back, she came back a little too soon. She feels like after she had her baby, and she went into this audition. She was really, really tired, and she had been suffering from a lot of like just like stress and anxiety after having had her baby. And she just went, and like the casting director stopped her, and she's like, and she literally was like, "Honey, I don't know what kind of partying you were doing last night, but you need to go get some sleep. You need to stop the drinking. You need to stop the partying. You need to figure it out because you can't be coming in here." And she was like so upset, and she was telling me this, and I'm like almost crying with her. She's like, and this was a long time ago, so it's very visceral for her. And she was like, I just had a baby. Like, she's like, oh, well then you don't need to be here. Then you need to go be with your baby.
Oh, to make matter, like to just to rub the salt in the wound.
Who knows what? And again, I get it.
Yeah, because you can't take personal responsibility for your behavior.
Right?
You
gotta just make the person feel bad.
I guess that's a personal problem, right? Whatever. But at the same time, I was like, who knows, like what it took for that actress to even leave her house to get to. But I also get like they have a job to do. But dang,
totally. But like be a human being and have some sympathy.
Girl, I was like, oh dang. But yeah.
How do you handle the stress? I feel like when I think about even just air traffic controlling, like the amount of organization, phone calls, upset people, happy people, sad people, it seems to me like that is a lot of stress. How do you deal?
Work-life balance.
Yeah.
And that's something I talk about right in the beginning of having a conversation with a client or potential client, that is my, it's setting a boundary. It's, I need time to decompress. I need time to be good for everybody.
Right.
I need that home time. I need time with my husband. I need time with my family and friends. Like,
you're like, don't be texting me at midnight.
But like, and obviously if there's an emergency, there's an emergency, or like you're traveling, but like everybody is so respectful of that. And I am so thankful for them because I really need it. And like, I try to not work through lunch. It's been a new thing,
nice.
to not work through lunch and to take that time for myself to either meditate in my office or do something that's for me. If that's playing a game on my phone, if that's something that's not work.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And I've been really putting that into practice this year because I have felt that burnout. It's kind of why I stopped acting. You just feel so burnt out. You have the same thing. And, I don't want to ever get there. So I think it's really acknowledging that about yourself and really putting that into practice. It's harder. I'm also like a type A person and a Capricorn, so I'm very like, like driven, and we've got to get it done and, do all of that. But I think it's really important for myself and for my clients for me to be good, to handle all of that.
Totally.
With them.
totally. You don't want to end up, and also you're really young too, so it's like you don't want to end up with like high blood pressure at like whatever age because you're like stressed and popping Tums every day.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you,
no.
acupuncture. I also do that. That also helps a lot.
I have yet to. I'm still nervous.
I think we've
She's
talked
done
about
it.
Oh, good.
She's done
I
it.
think I gotta get your person's number.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm just nervous about the needles.
You can barely feel them.
Yeah. Like, what do you?
That's what I hear. I'm nervous about like the crazy circumstance happening, right? I'm on the bed. I got 1,000 needles in me. And then the roof falls.
1,000 needles.
And then those needles go like, and then I'm Hellraiser all of a sudden.
I get that, but they usually give you a little buzzer. So if you're, I usually have my treatments when I'm face down. So you don't even see them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you have a great practitioner, like you really don't even feel them going into you. The only response you feel is what your body is having. That can be like a sting for like 2 seconds or like a heat or things like that. You have like a body response. But as far as the actual needle feel, you actually don't feel it because they're so thin that they pop them in just like very fast that you don't even feel that needle sensation like you're getting a shot or an IV or thing. It doesn't feel like that because those needles are very thick. So these needles are just very, very thin and very like almost like cat whiskers is the best I could probably equate it to.
That's awesome.
All right, you talked me into it.
And ask for a treatment face down so you don't even see them. If seeing them kind of freaks you out, you can always ask for a treatment face down because they can do whatever. I mean, I
saw them do it on like faces.
I get some on my face and my ears. It's really cool. It's a really
I think
cool
I've had some on my neck.
Mm-hmm.
Watch, next time we talk, I'm going to be like, I'm all in it every day.
I'm hoping.
Acupuncture.
I hope.
That's awesome.
It's so great.
But going back to stress relief, like something that I think I read in a book somewhere, and we've had conversations on this. When you're rested and the stress is taken care of, the work that you have to do, you're more present for.
Yeah.
And it's like you can actually be more efficient with less time.
Yeah.
Efficient and effective.
If you're rested.
Totally.
Because if you're on the edge of burnout and you're like trying to put it all together, it's like you're barely making it work.
Yeah.
If you just took like an hour and slept and then went back at it or whatever,
Right.
or have a good night's sleep or whatever it is, then you can really maximize, quote unquote, your time.
Right.
But with less effort.
Yep.
And it's like that's such a hard thing to do in this industry, I feel like, because it is like phone calls in the middle of the night, production's on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phone call in the middle of the night, production's off.
Yes, exactly.
You got to get your client across the country for a photo shoot in the morning and the plane's canceled. You know what I mean? Like it's so many like crazy things that can happen in this industry. It's so hard to pick and choose. So I think it's really, really smart to do it in the beginning before it gets crazy.
And also feeling like, should I be doing more? You know, like there's always this feeling I think that reps have too of like, should I be going to this event and networking? Yeah. Should I be doing this play? And it's like, yes and no. Like you have to be present for all of that stuff. If you're not present, then what's the point? You're just going for the sake of going. And that's not the person I am. I have to be present and I have to be with you in order to really absorb whatever is happening. So that also is a pressure I think reps deal with a lot is like, do I have to be at this thing and network and and it's like, no, like you gotta find your boundaries and find what's important and what's valuable for you.
So outside of finding good people, what's important and valuable to you?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
There's no wrong answer.
Like just in life?
Yeah, sure. In life and in your perspective on the business?
I think in life, just be honest and live a life that you can walk honestly with. And appreciate the people who you're surrounded by. I think that's, as I get older and time shrinks of free time, I think that's really a big thing that I'm learning in life of just who's going to be those important people in my life that, it's a two-way street. It's
also like, who do you know you can call?
And like who's going to be a beneficial relationship to also make myself a better person. There are people who you used to hang out with that some might bring the worst out in you, and then realizing that that's not who you want to be, and then kind of distancing yourself and bringing people who like your guys' self, bringing the best out in you and really understanding what your life is about and really sympathizing and encouraging you to do things.
Yeah.
So I think that
building a supportive family.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, like sometimes, like you said, as you get older, as work gets busier, as even just like technology, like just everything, like the demands of everything.
Yeah.
You think like, and then you have kids, and then you got this, and whatever, you got new jobs. Like it's just all these things. It's like you really think about the time that you choose. Is so precious.
Yeah.
With the people that you're around, it's like you want to make it count.
Yeah.
You want it to be enjoyable. And then those are the people that I like. Now that we have a son, it's like those are the people that we want to see in our lives when he's 5. And who knows, going away to college someday. You know what I mean? That they've seen him grow up, or just people that have walked with you through your careers, even if it's friendships through the highs and the lows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I know I've always been grateful of all like the hiccups and just even like the journey that I've had since we've met. And you know, and right now I'm kind of like in the in-between of like I don't know what's happening, but like I'm doing stuff, but just to like know that there's like that support.
Yeah, always.
And that's cool, you know.
Yeah. And family is always important, and you know, my husband and all of that good stuff too. So like that's, you know, that's number 1 on my priority list.
I love it. You got awesome husband too.
I do.
I'm not saying that because he's sitting here, but
no, he really is the best. He's you know what keeps me sound, and you know, I think a lot of my clients are very thankful for him as well. So
I love it. Are you able to still watch a movie and like get lost in it? Or do you see, you know, the man behind the mask?
Films, it's a little hard for me to get lost. I think television's a little easier. I feel like Euphoria is my show that I'm getting lost in right now. I think I
haven't seen that yet, but I heard great things.
People are like, it's too intense. And I was like, I get that. But like, that's also like part of human connection. Human connection's intense.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's seeing,
messy.
I think it's seeing the gritty side of an extreme world. Yeah. I think it's so, I just get lost in it, and I get lost in the cinematography of it. I think it's so smart. I think the actors are incredible, you know, and groundbreaking, and, you know, we're seeing Zendaya like in a whole new person, and I think it's so phenomenal for her to make this transformation in the show. So I'm glad I got a season 2. So it's easier for me to get lost in television for some reason. I think film is just so, for me right now, is just so business.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to like shut that off of my brain.
You mean the way that you know, like, do you mean the way in the process of, you know, what it was to like cast that film and make it, that where sometimes you're just like looking at that process of it?
Mm-hmm. Or like, oh, how did she get first billing? You know what I mean? Like, why would I ever like think about that?
Right, ever.
Like, that's impressive. You know what I mean? Which it means nothing. You know what I mean? It's just for the namesake of it.
Yeah,
but it's
totally.
like
stuff
like that.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, I for a while couldn't watch TV or movies because I would literally just go IMDb everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, forget it. I just need to watch a TV show and just be like, call it a day.
That's why I feel like we watch a lot of reality shows.
Yeah, same. I don't watch a lot of television. I watch a lot of reality.
Dance
and
Moms.
It's awesome.
Just kidding.
Have you seen Dance Moms?
I love Dance Moms.
Girl,
We do too.
I was like, oh, dude, that poor lady.
Like, the trashier, the better for me. Like, I'm all about love and hip hop. I'm all about
seen that one
the
yet.
Housewives,
Oh,
Below
girl.
Deck. I mean, I'm here for it all.
We will
Bring it.
connect after the show.
I love it.
About Dance Moms because we
Yes.
just found it.
You know, we saw Abby Lee at a Target one time. Do you remember this?
Which one? The one
Do you
out here?
remember this? So the one over in Culver.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to tell this story. And
Yes,
I don't care
please.
If she hears it, because it's kind of, you know.
Please.
Karma has come for her.
I was about to say, she's
cuckoo.
getting it.
We were at a Target and we hear someone like yelling in the front of the store as we like enter. And I was like,
Of course.
who's yelling? Like Target.
Target.
Target's a very sacred place. Like, you don't scream in Target.
No one is
right?
upset at Target.
Right? So we're like, who's yelling? And I see her and I was like, I know exactly who that is.
I know that voice from anywhere.
That's Abby Lee from Dance Mom, and she's crazy.
She's losing her shit right now at the
She
gas.
was yelling at these poor Target employees who were so over it. She bought these big furniture things that she made them put on this like rolly thing to get out to her car. She was making them load it into her car, and they were like, "No, ma'am, we can't do that. Like, we can't do that. It's against
This isn't like a concierge.
Exactly. Like she wanted them to pull her, like have her pull up her car and then them load it in for her, and it's like, and she was having a fit.
Did she have the cameras with her?
She did not, but she
Lord.
was just hooting and hollering and like being. I was like, wow, so you are who you are on television, like
On
that's
and
not-
off screen.
That's not a perception. That's actually who you are. So
Well, yeah.
I can't even imagine. Her blood pressure must have been crazy
I mean,
going through life.
may God be with her.
Well, yeah, she's a mess.
We're watching the new season.
Oh, I haven't watched the new season.
She
Is
has definitely changed. Like,
Has she though?
You gotta watch it.
you gotta watch it.
like,
because
is she nice now?
She's
Well,
nicer.
she's nicer.
And it's kind of
okay,
annoying.
there it is.
It's kind of annoying. It's like, where's the meme? Like,
No, but you know what happened
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
the
like
gel and
Cancer?
cancer and
that's what I'm
everything?
saying. The karma
Gel.
came
Yeah,
for her.
but girl,
Like-
that I was like, because at first I was like, how do you go through something like that and just be the same person?
exactly.
But it's very different.
Okay.
It's very different.
Weird.
It's almost like I don't want her. It doesn't seem as like crazy. Like you want to hate her
Right.
like every
Totally.
episode.
Right.
Now you're just like, oh, okay. Anyway, yeah.
It's
gotta watch it.
definitely odd. Watch it and tell us what
Okay,
you think.
I will. Because
Yeah.
I've been seeing previews.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
edited it as if she is still mean. So I was like, I'm not gonna watch
No,
this
it's
lady
totally
who,
different.
Like went through this like horrific life situation
And it's
to
terrible.
things, and then still be the same person.
No, she's different.
It's
Okay,
almost
all right,
like
that
she
gives me
has
hope.
to be that.
right.
And see, you can
Okay.
kind of see the cracks now. Like,
Okay.
she'll give a bad note, and then literally she'll, like, pull the kid
She's
aside
like, come here, sweetie.
and be like,
And
look,
it's
you're
like,
great.
Oh, she has a heart.
You're great.
Oh.
You're going to do great things.
It's like the
Grinch.
Grinch that stole Christmas.
Yeah, this is not the Abby Lee I know.
It's not. It's so check it out.
Okay, I
this
will.
is the whole podcast. If anyone leaves this podcast, just give her a shot. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Give her a shot. I mean, I feel like everyone should give everyone a shot and see if it's for you. But
So in all of our podcasts, we ask all of our guests 5 simple questions.
okay.
Now, the trick to this is just answer the first thing that comes to your mind. It doesn't even have to be the actual answer.
Okay.
So our goal is just to enjoy.
That doesn't even make any sense.
I'll give you an
Like whatever
example.
pops into
Yeah,
my
if
brain.
I'm like, what's your favorite color? And I
Popcorn.
go, blue. And my favorite color is actually red.
Okay.
We're not gonna make you feel bad for
Okay, got it.
saying.
Well, what if she said like popcorn and it's not even a color?
Then you know what?
Then we're
There
gonna
should
start
be a
over.
popcorn
We're starting
color.
over. Okay, so there we go.
We'll start over.
Okay. Okay, number one.
Number one.
Yes.
If you could be any, I think I know this. If you could be any animal in the world, which animal would you be?
A koala.
Nice. I love that.
I love them. They're
They're so-
cute. This is why I love them, because they're cute and fluffy, but you get close to them, they're like, don't fuck with
That's
me.
so true.
You know, it's funny.
Back up.
Have you seen the photo of them wet?
Yeah.
Oh, girl, they are not so cute.
Oh, they look like a little weasel.
What is happening?
Did a book report in the 4th grade on koala bears, and I drew a little koala bear holding onto a tree.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
I'll have to
love
find it and take you a picture. Send you a picture. Okay, number
Good
2.
answer.
If you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh. I love food. So this is a very hard question.
I know, right?
Only one thing.
One thing.
Your favorite.
I'd have to say pizza.
Good choice.
What kind?
Any kind.
Really?
Yeah, except no pineapples. I'm a no pineapple person.
Yeah,
I
no.
hear you.
Yeah.
I don't need nothing sweet on my pizza.
Yeah.
3.
Number 3.
If you could have any superpower or
Be a
be a superhero, which one would it be, or who would it be?
Or what would your power be?
Making money.
That's
Like
the first
growing
one.
it
Yes,
on your
like
own
I
tree?
could just instantly.
You just had a tree like a magic.
But I wouldn't tell anybody.
Oh no,
just
definitely.
be
That's like
I would
winning
live
the
a
lottery.
very humble life, but like I would like do charity. Like
Yeah.
I would totally like use it for the good and not for the bad.
That's
yeah, you
good.
can't flood the currency.
No,
'Cause
no, and
then-
I wouldn't
yeah.
because then it means nothing. So I
Yeah.
can't
Of
destroy
course.
my own power. So.
You see, she's a smart cookie.
With great power comes great
Great
responsibility.
responsibility.
Yes.
And a good money thinks.
Celebrity crush.
Number 4.
Ryan Gosling.
Oh, me
Ah,
Me too.
forever.
too. Man.
What is that quote that
Forever.
he says from The Notebook when he's like,
I have my sister at the very end when he's in the car.
Yes.
My sister. Okay, it's my favorite line from the Notebook, and it's like. It's very like personal to like our relationship too, because it's like very how we are. He's like, "What do you want? Like, what do you want?" So,
Allie, what do you want?
as a wedding gift, my
It's not that
sister
simple.
cross stitches, and she cross stitched the whole lyric, and it's in my bathroom.
Oh
Oh,
my
I
gosh, I
love
love
that. What do you want? It's not that
Because
simple.
literally, I could watch the movie and I know it's coming, and I cry instantly.
Yeah.
the second that
Don't
it
even
comes
tell me
on,
that.
So.
That is a beautiful moment.
Preston thinks we're going to die like the old people in The Notebook.
That's adorable.
I know.
Totally. Why not?
I would love to go that way.
I know. It's so sad.
It
Okay,
is
I'm
sad.
like, I'll just die before you. Thanks. Okay, bye.
Not to ruin that.
That's the rule on me as well. Like you, no.
You go
Yeah,
for it.
exactly.
I can't handle that.
Nope.
See you later.
Sorry. You all can go get coffee together when we're gone.
We'll be
Thanks.
chilling.
That is
so.
a beautiful moment. Did you see the meme though that kind of makes fun of that?
No, I haven't.
So there's a really funny meme where like it's about like a boyfriend asking her girlfriend where to go eat. Right? And so that's he's like, what do you want? It's not that simple.
Ain't that the truth?
That is the truth.
2 hours. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care. Just pick one.
We then go by cuisine. Like then we just start going down by cuisine.
There you go.
Like what do we like?
Mexican,
then we just, like,
no.
narrow it
Sushi,
down.
no.
That's smart.
Who doesn't ever want sushi?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was number 4, right?
That was number 4.
Number 5.
Oh, last
So if you were not in the entertainment industry, what else do you think you could see yourself doing?
I would be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Nice.
We've had a couple lawyers.
Yeah, I would. I like that structure of being
Yeah.
a lawyer, and I would probably be a prosecutor.
Nice. So you get the performance too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
See?
Love
girl.
that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. And there's kind of a bonus question.
Ooh,
We threw you for a loop.
yes.
We like to, as we're kind of wrapping up,
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to consider is if you're looking at yourself in the past or someone who's listening who wants to be a manager and you're saying, what would be the best advice that you would give yourself or someone who wants to jump in?
I think for myself, stay patient.
Yeah.
I think someone getting into this, make sure you have the passion.
Yeah.
I love that.
How do you make sure? What would be a good way to make sure?
Don't hate people. Just kidding.
Yeah, don't hate people. Like, find the joy in the
Yeah.
mundane. I think it's, finding joy in doing breakdowns,
Yeah.
and submitting people and pitching. You still get to have that fire and be like, oh, like I made this happen.
Yeah.
Like if you find the passion and in the day-to-day of it, then that's what you're meant to do.
It's like, that is so, I love that. I love people. It's like if you're not a people person and you are working with people, then you need to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Like
No,
for
for
real.
real.
Like
For real.
I have a friend who literally she submitted an email to an agent. Mind you, it's a really small agent.
Oh my
sorry,
gosh.
not
this
agent,
gets
a
your
manager.
blood boiling.
Oh, great.
Oh.
Here we go.
Really small manager. Let's side note, we're wrapping up, but I got to say this. It was a really small manager. She basically was like, hey, like you can call my office to set up a meeting, such and such, whatever. She called
Via email.
Mm-hmm.
She called her to set up the meeting. She went on to do the thing, whatever. She called, and then she literally went on and berated her for 2 hours.
2 hours.
She told me what the lady was telling her, and she was like, who do you think you are? She goes, you're going to call me on a Monday morning? She was like, you told me to call. Like, you told me to call. Like, I could call you back. She's like, no, don't call me back. And then she basically went on to say, like, and what is it that you want me to do? You have sketch comedy on your resume. What do you think you want me to do with this? What do you think you're going to do with this? And she's literally, and then like she was dropping F-bombs and stuff on her and just saying like, literally just saying like, I'm like, why did this bitch even call you? Like, first of all, she saw your resume. Like, she knows what you have or haven't done.
Exactly.
Like,
And that was the thing that was killing me. So our actress friend had submitted herself because her website said it was open to it.
Right.
And so she
Yeah.
called her and essentially was making her feel bad for calling her, even though she
Told her,
emailed
and she
our
told her to call
actress
me.
friend and said, call me. And then she had her resume in front of her. So this manager was reading the resume to our actress friend, making our actress friend feel bad for what she did or did not have on the resume.
And she was like, Funny or Die? Why is this even on here? Anybody can get on Funny or Die. Like,
Wow.
why would you?
Yeah.
and
But
then putting her in the position of having to explain like where
I
she
was like, I
or
would have
was
been
not.
like, bitch, you
What's
need
the
to.
point of that conversation?
Like,
Totally.
if you hate people, which that sounds like you are not a people person, why would you even be in that career?
yeah.
like-
No, exactly.
Like, people please. Like, I think the same thing goes for like doctors,
Mm-hmm.
like teachers. Like, if you don't like kids, you do not need to be a teacher.
And if you're burnt out, then like
Take a break.
Take a break
Yeah.
and be conscious of that.
That's that's even a different thing. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no,
be-
totally.
Oh my gosh.
I
Anyways,
love that. And
don't be
that's
that.
such,
Don't be that jerk.
Don't be that jerk. If
Don't
you're with
be it.
people, be a cool person. And also, be patient.
Be patient.
It's the long haul. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it another week. Nadia, can you believe it?
I can.
Oh my goodness. Kaylin, if someone listening wants to get a hold of you or wants to just follow your journey, what would be a great way to follow your stuff?
Don't be blowing up her email.
Yeah, I'll give you my email, but don't be blowing that up.
Yeah.
So it's my first name, Kaylin, at principalentla.com.
Awesome. Do not self-submit.
Do not please. I just won't answer. So
Don't do it.
Don't be. Yeah. Don't
Please
hate.
Don't be crazy. That's not cool. That's not being a good person, right?
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for
so
tuning in.
much.
Kaylin, thank you for being here. It's
Thank
been
you
an
so much
honor.
for having me.
Until next time.
We did it.
Babe,
Yeah, peace out.
let's go get tacos.
Let's go. We already ate.